guys, welcome to the episode number 10, and I'm so happy that we have reached double-digit milestone today. My name is Avinash, and this is a podcast we talk about embracing human experience.
This is Mugdha. Today in the 10th episode, we are actually going to cover the topic of disillusionment and finding your soul purpose. We actually started talking about it last week. We just want to kind of continue and bring it not to a conclusion, but to kind of a closure around this topic. So welcome to the 10th episode. Yes, let's get started, Avinash.
Yeah, so last time we were talking about Mugdha, the disillusionment, why it happens, and societal construct around it. You got disillusioned with the pharmaceutical industry. I got disillusioned with the institution of marriage and the relationship. And
I also got disillusioned with that.
So you got two disillusionment.
I got multiple disillusions.
Okay. So out of that, something came up that everyone is following certain kind of systems in this world. You're part of a system by virtue of being in certain kind of profession, by virtue of being in a social institution like a marriage, or by being virtue of a guardian or a parent or son, daughter or whatever. You have those relationships. So there are systems built around it, apparently to make life easier for the people involved. But what we are seeing nowadays, what we are observing, the people we work with, those system itself is pulling everyone down. So it's a high time that we should take a hard look at what kind of systems we are building around us, what kind of systems we are part of, what kind of systems we are actually helping them build. So when we look at critically what kind of job I am doing, whether it is giving me a purpose, whether it is satisfying my innate desire so that I get that sense of fulfillment or happiness, or the kind of relationship I have, or the kind of the system, the government appointed system that I depend on for my day-to-day living. So everything needs to be questioned, everything needs to be relooked at it in a different way, so that whether it is serving the purpose or not, we should be 100% sure.
Right. So I think, also I'm looking at what's happening globally, and if you look at history, when an empire is about to collapse and crumble, it really gets horrendously difficult for the citizens, and that's when the citizens actually get disillusioned with that empire. A revolt happens, and through that revolt and rebellion, a new system gets created, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, this can happen at an individual level. You could look at your own life and like how it was set up because of belief systems, condition. We've spoken about that multiple times in the past. And then it just gets so claustrophobic and so suffocating. It takes so much from you that you want to rebel and revolt against that, because you get disillusioned by something that you thought was supposed to help you live a happy, peaceful life, right? So that happens at an individual level, which is what we both went through individually in terms of marriage and society mandated lives. And then it could then go to like career itself, right? Where you've picked a career because the systems kind of made it look like a really enviable career. Being a lawyer or being a doctor or being an engineer or being
software guys nowadays.
Yeah. So you go into that thinking, oh, this career is going to give me the kind of financial stability I'm looking for, the kind of abundance I'm looking for, that's going to really help me live my life well and allow me to thrive on this planet. And then that particular career just starts taking too much from you, right? Like conventional careers, right? It just starts taking too much energy from you, and then you get delusioned with that career. That's when usually the midlife crisis happens. Now, it's your personal life, your relationships, your significant partners, then your career, and then it starts going a little higher and higher, then it goes to systems, right? Mm-hmm. Like right now, I can see so many people who are getting disillusioned by the government itself. I was speaking to somebody from the team, and her mom runs a boutique. The boutique has tailors, and now tailors have to pay GST. And I'm like, at some point they'll start collecting GST even from jo bhangis are there, the ones who clean our toilets, and they'll start collecting
GST on water now.
So the fact that the citizenry is now seeing that the system that was supposed to help them actually is depleting them, right? The shoshan is the word in Marathi. Like the system is doing that, is when they will start questioning the system. Now, when we speak of finding purpose, often it's easier to look at these larger systems than to look at your individual, what you have agreed and consented to kind of run your life, right? So to truly find your soul purpose, it's really important that you break the illusion of the life you think you're living and really take a good hard look at yourself, minus the bullshit, right? So it really is that, because I was talking to somebody earlier and he was like, what would motivate somebody to come and work with you for embracing the human experience, right? Like how do you convince somebody to do it? And I told him, I don't convince anyone to do it. The pricing also, we've kept it as a barrier, because I am not in the job of convincing someone to say, come and work with me. My goal is, when that person reaches that point of questioning, that why am I alive, what am I doing, what is the kind of life I'm living, can somebody help me with these questions? They find us and we help them answer these questions, right?
Sure.
So that point has to happen, where you see that the life you're living is largely based on lies and a lot of systems and other people's thought processes and other people's ideas of how you should be living, which is basically, like I said earlier, bullshit. So you have to wake up and smell the bullshit and then say that I don't want to live in this stinking pile anymore and get out of it, right?
So at personal level, you're talking about, there is a personal level, there people are not aware of the system. You can look at the largest systems, which is the government and the banking system and the pharma and the medical, and how things are being governed by these people or run by these people, and you are someone who is getting shoshan, the Marathi word for you.
What would be the English equivalent of that?
Shoshan.
Sucked dry, like vampires would.
Whatever.
Yeah. See, there's a
So
single Marathi word, but in English we have to say 5 words for it.
Government is here to suck you. So that is the word.
Yeah.
Right? So they're sucking you in whatever way they can. So at personal level, what I have seen, like I always insist that we should have a spiritual revolution rather than any other kind of revolution.
Absolutely.
Like we have seen revolution in during 19th century, French Revolution happened, then Russian Revolution happened, then revolution in China happened for different purposes. It was against the establishment fundamentally. Okay, this government is not doing what it is supposed to do, or monarchy is not doing, or Hitler is not doing, or someone is not doing what they are supposed to do.
Right.
So people revolted against it. But nowadays that systems have become so invisible, you can't even make out whether it is a government which is running the show or there is some third party entities which are running the show. So people don't even know whom to revolt against. Against, how do I protest against someone? I don't even know. Now this entire COVID drama is all about that. No one knows who is running the entire show. People know where the money went, who is making the money out of the entire thing, but they are not running the government.
No.
So we can't revolt against the government. What are you doing? Someone else is doing it. Government says we don't know. Someone else told us to do it.
Yeah, this research, this data, CDC guidelines, and that's why we did it.
So everyone is pointing finger. If everything goes,
it's like that Spider-Man meme. There's a Spider-Man meme where there's a Spider-Man pointing to. It's literally like that. Like.
So even at individual level, over a period of time, what I have seen is there are systems built by the religion itself in the name of religion. How to?
But that's also institutional, Avinash.
This is the system only. How do you live your life? In spite of your profession or in spite of your upbringing, or so how do you get married, which family when you get born into, then you will be entitled to certain privileges, the name you carry, the gotra you carry, so those kind of things dictates your
wasn't really constructed around religion, right? Like,
so because you were exposed to different kind of, your mother was following something else and your father, they were not that dogmatic religion,
right?
You were not going to a church.
But were your life choices influenced by religion?
Yeah, at some level, the rituals become part of your life. The rituals dictate on this day you should not be eating this, on this date you should not be eating that. So at very small level, at minuscule level, this religious aspects start coming into your life. They start dictating your personal choices. Where do you get married? How do you get married? How many kids you have? Where do they go? What do they learn? Everything at personal level also gets bound by system, dictated by the system.
Looks like I had liberal parents.
And people don't even think they are getting dictated in this kind of system. So religion is like, okay, I just close my eyes.
To me, the religion and how it impacts your food choices, that is like the biggest, it's the most annoying thing.
I know.
People who have studied nutrition, people who are followers of science, people who are learning, will still not go and eat like an egg and like a little mutton because they belong to a certain community or their religion says that they cannot do that. I'm like, where is the intelligence in this decision making?
The systems are basically to take your brain away and just tell you, if you're going to a place of worship, take out your shoes. Why? No one knows. What is the purpose? No one knows. So most of these systems around health, around menstrual health, there are so much of dogma created by all religions.
So many taboos around menstrual health.
So many taboos about childbirth, so many taboos about sex. So even the private or totally personal choices are dictated by certain kind of systems, and we are not even aware of it. So when you start, as you rightly said, when you start awakening, when you start questioning entire thing, that questioning begins at your own level. Ki why do I exist?
And even before that, why do I exist, right? The first, for me, I'll tell you where the change started. Why do I exist was not the question that I asked first. The question that I asked first is, why am I feeling like this? If I'm doing everything right according to what the world says, why am I still feeling like this? Why am I feeling unhappy and low and dejected and like at conflict with the things I have to do? Why am I not waking up with joy every morning? So the feeling part of me is what really created the awakening inside me, that I am not feeling good. Why can I not feel good? Then it went to, why am I doing this? For example, getting ready for the job I was going to.
But then why you are not feeling good? Was it prompted by something? Was there a trigger to that?
No, I just was feeling low, right? I just was feeling depressed. I just was not feeling good. And there were points, so I thought, okay, if I do this, I'll feel good. If I have a child, I'll feel good.
This low is normalized by the society. Everyone feels low. It's your age. It's your this. It's your that.
Yeah. Like just go meet friends, go for a trip, take a break from work.
Yeah.
Why would you need a break from work if the work
drink
is...
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, so have a Kit Kat, take a break, have a Kit Kat, right? But basically that's the point, right? Like it was not like one day that I suddenly said that, I have to like figure out how to change my life. It was a slow process. It started off, pre-pregnancy, during pregnancy, postpartum, because of the hormonal changes and all that, a lot of that got triggered. And also I was at home, not going to work, not using my brain. Of course, I used my brain in other ways. I learned sign language and taught my daughter sign language, and we used to communicate in sign language. But the point being that I was feeling extremely unfulfilled. Even though I was busy throughout the day, I was very, very busy. I would not have time at all. Now I have more time on my hands. I would be busy. I would be exhausted by the end of the day, but I would feel extremely unfulfilled, and I would wake up, just like Groundhog Day, just going through the same loop over and again, right? So that was happening for many days, and then I kept asking, why am I feeling like this? Why am I feeling like this? So it was not one single moment that triggered it. It was a series of many, many days of feeling low, demotivated, doing things because they had to be done. Like I had to cook food for my daughter, otherwise what would she eat, right? Like doing things because they had to be done, otherwise somebody else would suffer the consequence of me not doing something. And I just didn't like that. I just didn't like that I was waking up and just doing something because if I didn't do it, somebody else would suffer. But what about me? What did I really want to do for myself? Did I just want to spend time in just nature, like just go and see, Toronto in spring is actually really beautiful. It's got a lot of natural beauty, right? So I just would want to wake up and just spend a day in the forest, in the trees. But I couldn't because I had to do XYZ things. I had to load the dishwasher, I had to cook food, I had to wash the clothes.
In Western country, you're a sophisticated maid only.
Yeah, sophisticated maid basically, right? And then be exhausted with all of that housework by end of the day, wake up next day, same pattern. It just didn't make sense to me, right? And I was like, there has to be more than this to life. So that's where my questioning really began.
So that was the system that you were following,
yeah.
Right? The good mother, good mother-in-law, good wife.
Mother-in-law?
Sorry,
daughter-in-law.
You will be one day.
Yeah, good wife, good daughter, good immigrant. Not breaking any rules there.
Paying taxes, looking for a job, keeping the city clean, Toronto. So many systems we have been made part of.
For you, what was it? Like, what was the...
For me, it was a single moment when my son asked me, I'll do the same thing that my mother does. With you, I said, my life is gone. Like, I was brought up with, with some kind of difficult kind of parenting. Then I went into a difficult marriage, and my old age is going to be even more difficult with this kind of kids.
Right.
So I think that particular moment flip, it was a switch for
It was
me.
like a on-off
It was never there. I was not in that thought process itself. In fact, I have ingrained that entire societal construct of how a person should be.
A man.
In terms of following whatever my partner says, in terms of doing parental duties, in terms of doing societal duties, go and vote, pay taxes, and do whatever it takes to show your nationalism. Feel proud whenever there is a national anthem being played or a tricolor is displayed. I still do.
I would
but
cry. I would cry every time I would hear the national anthem.
I know. And respect your currency, respect your leaders. So everything I followed to the T. But at some point, that particular moment switched everything. Then I started questioning entire
But
thing.
everything didn't fall apart at that moment.
That moment, my entire construct that I have constructed to lead this life, normalize all those things that I have normalized कि ये तो सबके साथ होता है, that changed, that crumbled, it entirely collapsed. And I was feeling like, okay, I'm empty from inside.
How did your nervous system react to that? Because mine was a more slow process, right? Like it was more like that frog boiling in water.
It just collapsed. Like that entire system I have created for my existence, borrowing from all kinds of systems around me, societal systems, religious systems, even the government systems, professional systems, all those systems, and I use them to construct a beautiful life, larger than life image, and
which to the outside world was amazing.
Perfect. It was too good. One moment, one instant, it collapsed everything, and I was like, I totally felt empty at this particular point of time. Ki I didn't know what I was doing. I just decided to go with the flow. I kept my wits with me to some extent. Ki okay, I still have to take care of the kids and ensure financial security and all that. I kept with the pretense for next couple of years after that particular moment. But it was extremely difficult. I can imagine, even the period before that particular moment was better than this particular period.
Because ignorance is bliss, right? Like,
yeah, so this particular period where I realized that this is not what I am supposed to do, and I was still doing it. Knowingly, you can't do something to yourself.
It's that, na? See, when you're asleep, when you don't know what you're doing and you're just living a lie, you don't know. So there's a sense of comfort in that, and you use numbing agents, right? Like you use
I used to smoke
food,
and drink
alcohol,
and
smoking, drugs, all of that. You use those numbing agents. Sex is one of those. So you numb yourself, and you don't know what is it that you're actually part of. You don't know how toxic your environment is.
Exactly.
But the minute that awakening happens and you wake up and then you see around you and then you
so
see, oh my
restless.
God, like what am I in?
I remember not sleeping for days
Yeah.
because I couldn't make peace with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Whether it really is required, is there any other way of doing things? Because things were getting worse day by day. It definitely not getting
because
better.
You became aware also. You became cognitive of
questioning,
how bad.
I started resisting. I started doing things which were unimaginable even a couple of months back.
Right.
And when we use that word for our episode, disillusionment, that was the moment of disillusionment, not the time when the entire structure collapsed. Disillusionment happened when I wanted to keep up with the same thing that I was part of earlier, and I was totally disillusioned there. Nahi, this is not how it is to be. This is not how I am going to lead my life. This is, I don't want to be part of this. That moment I didn't know what I'm going to do, what new system I'm going to create. I had zero idea where it is going and how it is going to go. But I knew only one thing, I don't want to be part of this system. So I just decided to move away.
I think for me also it was the same. I didn't know before that iThrive was going to happen, or I was going to eventually create a planet that's free of diseases. I didn't know it at that time, right? I just knew that I have to escape this. Yeah. This is a prison, and I had imprisoned myself because I had agreed to be part of this prison mechanism because I thought that this is what I wanted. Now that I know this is a prison, I can't be here anymore. I have to escape. So it is literally like jailbreak.
Yeah.
When someone escapes prison, like if you've seen most of the jailbreak movies, right? They literally crawl out of toilets and gutters, and they finally find.
I almost did that.
Yeah. And
When I did jailbreak.
and when they just run into a forest, like most jailbreak movies are like that, right? And they don't know where they're going. There is no home waiting for them, because you can't go to places that were part of the prison system that got you imprisoned in the first place anyway, right? So even I didn't know what I was going to do. It was scary. My nervous system went through major chaos, right? Just trying to find a sense of grounding and sense of stability through all of the uncertainty. But that entire period, right, what it did to my nervous system is it gave it an immense, the boundaries, or the window of tolerance, basically. The window of tolerance for stress just went up, whoop, like that, right? Like things I couldn't have dealt with before, because I put myself through this much of a grinder, and I had to do so many things that I wouldn't even have thought were possible. I don't get bogged down by most things now, right? Like it just doesn't matter, because my system's ability to deal with stress itself, if it was this much before, right, the window of tolerance was this much. Somebody said something, and like if my mother-in-law said something, I would get irritated, angry, all of that drama would happen. Versus now, that window of stress tolerance is so high. Now trolls will come and say something and go, people will say something, some aunt will pass some random comment somewhere. It just doesn't matter, right? So that's what I think that period of breaking out did. It just gave me immense strength. And through that, then I slowly started discovering what was it that I really liked doing. What was it that I enjoyed doing.
Yeah, in fact, you had a lot of initiation into spiritual practices. I had zero understanding.
Yeah.
I had no knowledge whatsoever. I was still trying to rebuild my life around the same system. कि मेरे को फिर से जॉब करना, I have to make money, I have to be financially stable, I have to take care of the kids, maybe I have to get married again.
Really? You thought of?
It's very minor thought somewhere.
Oh my God.
Just to fit it into the system, but I will be better this time around.
I'll make
will
better choices.
Better choices. But I was trying to rebuild that entire life around it, because I had zero understanding of what my spirit, what my soul wanted. And I was living under that illusion for many, many years. So finding purpose out of disillusionment, it puts you on a path. It's up to you, how do you want to use that, that freedom that you have achieved or acquired from all kinds of system
Right.
around you. And then how do you go about finding your true purpose? I think being open worked with me. I was open to anything and everything in this world. I'll just take the knowledge wherever it is coming from, whatever source it is coming from. So it put me onto the path of finding the purpose. It didn't actually give me the path. It didn't give me the purpose कि platter पे आके ऐसे दिया नहीं ये तुम्हारा purpose है जाओ. It didn't happen that way. It just gave me a path where I could seek fulfillment, I could seek happiness, I could seek freedom, I could seek that sense of belonging, that sense of comfort, sense of doing something meaningful. And I just followed, and I met you on that path, and then that spiritual awakening started. So actual, whatever I was doing, there was no method to that madness. After meeting you, that method started coming in. So madness continues, but now it is with method. So what happened with you? How did you find your purpose then?
Yeah, I'll talk about that, but I'll just go back to what you said, right? So when people, for example, escape the system and there's that newfound freedom, often if you don't ask the right questions, then you can just be like, oh, let's chill in that freedom, right? Like I recently had a friend who had come over to stay, and I saw him in that mode mostly. Like he's escaped the system. He's not bound by any of the constructs, and he's just enjoying that freedom. Like it's just like, let me just be, right? And I mean, you could do that entire lifetime and you could live and die like that, but I think then you lose the ability to really do a lot of deeper inner work where you have to grow even further. So one is you find your freedom. Then what are you going to do with that freedom, right? How are you going to help other people break out of the system? How are you going to really create a path for them so that they don't have to crawl through gutters and toilets, right? Like how can you just construct maybe a small break in the prison wall through which like you just show them this way, and they can just walk out of it. With like all that they need is their own courage to walk out, but you create that path for them, right? Can you lay that path? Can you go back so close to the system that you find a way to bend that system without having to break down walls and create like small loopholes through which people can exit, right? Do you have the courage and the resilience to do that? And I think we owe it to the creator and the source itself that once we find our freedom, and I think we just owe it to our fellow human beings also. I really think we do, because we are an interconnected species. We really are, like, deep inside our hearts, there's a lot of care that we have for each other. Deep inside our hearts, there is this intrinsic desire to collaborate with one another, to create magic with each other. And those of us that have awakened, those of us that know that living in those systems as prison inmates is not really what we were designed for, I think it is our responsibility to find a way and to kind of help our brother and sisters and partners and whoever we care about to kind of find a way out, to do the effort. Not that they will always come to you, but at least put in the effort on a day-to-day basis to create that path, right? I think that's a moral responsibility I feel I have.
Yeah, that is how we started doing this podcast, or in fact that program itself, although it is not for the masses, it is very exclusive. But these kind of messages that I want to send out or you want to send out, it's basically to show them that light. Okay, there is a light at the end of whatever tunnel they are into currently, and maybe at some point of time, if they decide to go, so there is always an example. Okay, these guys did it. They were also in the same situation. For me, that was the biggest lesson when I came out of that jail after the jailbreak, and I used to think I am the only person who has done or who has gone through the shit. And I started reading a book, and I realized, okay, there are so many people who have gone through it. And I think this is a small attempt from our side, guys, to share our stories, share our experiences, so that you know what exactly any one of us can go through, and you're not the only one who is there.
So going back to your question on how did I find my soul's purpose, one thing is, like, I have always really been divinely guided, right? Like, as a child, I could hear a lot of guidance coming into my head. Like, I could just hear divine guidance. And that moment when I came, and then, like, there was absolute chaos and, like, the actual poverty of not having enough money, dad not really being there, and, like, all of that, right? That chaos, my health kind of crashing. I would meditate every day. I would. Not that I had the kind of meditations that I have access to now. Now what I do is really next level and very powerful. But whatever small meditation techniques I knew, like just sitting quietly and just going in, and I would, out of desperation, ask for guidance. That tell me what to do. I am here. I know I am a child of the universe. I know I am blessed by your, I know I am just blessed, but I don't know what to do with my life. You tell me, I am here to serve you, right? So I would keep offering my existence in service. I really remember doing a lot of that, less of like, oh, I need money, less of asking, more of saying, tell me what to do. I'm here to serve, I'll serve you the best of my capacity. And of course, I was working on my health, and then automatically, like this story I've told many times, people started asking me, how did you fix your health? And then I'd start did the same functional nutrition stuff for them, looked at their blood work, and it just grew from there. And I actually spoke about this even when I was on stage for the CXO talk, that there were 2 years, so that 2017 to 2019, when I was working on my health and helping other people with their health, I also just gave up all material stuff, which is like house and everything. And I traveled a lot. I had a lot of different experiences out of choice to see what is it that I really enjoyed the most, right? Because I didn't want to suddenly pick up something saying, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do, and again have it backfire. Because I really had thought that getting married, being with a husband, serving, taking care of a child, raising that beautiful little girl into a beautiful woman was what I wanted to do. So I didn't want to suddenly say that, oh no, this work I'm doing on chronic disease is the only thing I'm supposed to do here. So I did a lot of experiments, including cleaning rivers in Pune, making seed bombs, trying to do like plantation drives, and traveling, and like just retreats and all of that. And every single time, what would give me the most inner peace, inner joy, and what would also create more wealth and abundance and just a lot of goodwill in my life was working with people one-on-one to reverse their diseases. So it started becoming clearer and clearer that the more I do of this, the more I feel at peace and I feel happy and I feel really good. And it seems like the world also is giving me more when I do this, right? So one is intrinsically what's making me happy, and extrinsically what am I receiving back from the world. So it started feeling like, oh, this is what I'm really supposed to do. And then I started communicating with God, Mother, Source, whatever word you want to use, saying that, okay, if this is how I'm supposed to serve you, if I'm supposed to help people find life back, right, like give them their health back, give them life back into their bodies, then help me with this. So what can I do here? How can I? And then this was before my birthday in 2019. I was in Toronto. I had gone back there for a brief period of time. I was sitting in that I had a shared accommodation that I was sharing with 2 other girls, and I was sitting there in the morning in my meditation, and I just said, okay, I'm going to turn I think 41, no? 2019. Yeah, I think so. Whatever, my math is pretty fucked. But whatever age I was going to turn the next day, I just sat and I said, okay, I'm completing 1 more year around the sun on this planet, and I'm doing this, I'm helping people one-on-one. Can this be bigger, right? Can you guide me if I can do more with my time? And then this number of 1 million people just came into my head, right? So it seemed like, okay, I want to heal 1 million people. And I said it aloud. And it seemed like every cell in my body was very happy with that statement. And say, yawn, don't hold that yawn.
It's okay, I'm on another camera. The camera is not on me.
Yeah, so every cell in my body just really rejoiced with that thought, and then I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. So I said that aloud and I put it on Facebook, and you won't believe how suddenly things started shifting, right? Like the day I actually said it out in the world that I want to heal 1 million people, Rajesh entered my life, and then like the conversations went on, and then of course then that story again is something that I've spoken of, how the company got invested in. And again until 2021 it was that vision to heal 1 million people. And then when the team came and it became like 25-30 people last year, to me even 1 million started seeming a little smaller, and then we're like, how can we expand this vision and make it bigger? And now so we want to create a planet only free of disease, and I think it is going to happen.
So is there a kind of checklist that people can follow to find their purpose once they get disillusioned, or the purpose can be found before disillusionment itself?
No, if you start seeking your purpose on this planet, you are going to get disillusioned with the life you're living, guaranteed. Okay, so do not try at home if you do not want to take the risk of this experience. But
so
3 questions. Yeah, 3 questions that, like, if you're watching this today and if you're just curious about the process, right? You can ask the first question, like just do this in the morning as soon as you wake up. Doesn't take more than 2-3 minutes. I still do this on some days as I'm lying in bed, like the alarm's rung off or I've woken up before the alarm. I'll ask this question: what is God's will for humanity, or what is the divine will for humanity, or what is Source's will for humanity? When I say that, it's basically what is the design that you have for human beings. I just ask that question. Second question is, whatever is your will for humanity, right? Whatever is your design for how humans are supposed to be, how can I be of service in that? Right? Like, how can I serve you? I really, like, sometimes I don't want to make it like a very simplistic reductionist statement, but you know, when you're employed at an organization, in whatever role you are, you would ask the management, or you ask the CEO, you'd ask the boss कि मुझे क्या करना है? Like, tell me what I'm supposed to do here, right? Job description दे दो कि okay, this is what the company is for, we are supposed to do this XYZ things, but you tell me why I'm here. So I asked that as the second question, कि how can I serve you better? What can I do beyond just breathing and eating food? Third question I ask is, what are the special skills and talents that I would need to add on so I may do better? Right? Like, it's literally like an appraisal process.
Self-appraisal.
What is it that your vision is for humanity? how can I serve you accomplish this vision, and what are the skills and capacities and capabilities that I need to build on so that I can do this better. And because I asked this question, Avinash, I have transitioned from being a nutritionist to somebody who can help people find their spiritual, you know, how it seems a little improbable to say that I can help people like go through the entire soul's journey and find their soul purpose, right? Like, what is the possibility? Like, generally if someone says that, I would like put them into this category of all these cult gurus, right? But I say that with confidence because I have always asked these three questions, and through these questions I have received the knowledge, I've received the information. Now I'm studying this thing called as internal family systems. To me, I've never found something as profound and as beautiful in terms of being able to work with the psycho-spiritual aspects of a human being, right? It's not just the mind, it's the spiritual aspect of you along with your mind and your emotions and the entire template of your growth and all of that, right? How am I able to do this? How did this knowledge come to me? Why did this knowledge seek me and find me? Because I was seeking this knowledge actively by asking the question, what skills can I acquire to help humans better? So that is how, like, that is my three questions that you can ask every morning. What is your will for humanity? How can I serve you with this particular mission, vision, will, and what are the skills I need to acquire? And you will see things will start changing.
I am so mesmerized that in fact I was, getting into a trance. Okay, because of your talk, because I don't relate to any of I don't do any of these things. I don't do meditation. I don't ask this kind of question. But at most of the time, I am very clear what I want to do through the day. So is it possible to have clarity of thought? Sometimes I question that also.
Right.
Of late, I am questioning more often than not. What am I doing here? Like, really, that is...
Yeah, I think you went through this period of dissonance a couple of weeks ago, where like you were not really... like the purpose thing itself was something that was bothering you, right?
So
what was that? Like, what was driving that?
I don't know. I think there was a dissonance between what I was trying to achieve, whether that achieve itself is a right word, because my entire life after that jailbreak was driven by one fundamental thing, that was the freedom. So I was always benchmarking against whatever I do, against whether I am getting more free or less free. So
but is there a more free or less free? Freedom is freedom.
I don't know. Freedom has to be absolute.
Yeah.
But you trade your freedom to get some goodies on this planet.
You trade time, no?
That is the part of your freedom. No? The time gives you the freedom.
But
so you trade your time.
No, but even if you're just trading time, you will still be a free being in that time. No? You're not.
No, at least see, I am talking to you now. So I've given away I want to dance. For all I care, or I want
you
to
can dance. Like, I'm not saying you have to talk to me just by sitting on a chair.
Not talking to. So I have made a conscious choice. Okay, I want to do this thing at this particular point of time, just because I like doing this thing. Right? So there is a trade-off. I am not free at this moment. Physically, I am not free. Physically, I can't just go around and this cameraman is not going to follow me. So I have traded off. I like doing this also, along with being actively free, doing whatever, going into the mountains or in the forest. So I am trading at all point of time. What matters to me most, and I think that is how that last few weeks that I am going through that process of entirely recalibrating my idea of freedom itself.
So when I met you,
it shouldn't be like physically free.
Yeah.
It has to be like mentally free, that you're free to conceive, you're free to have your thoughts, you're free to have your own opinions, you're free to express them. So that freedom should come from your thought process.
That's freedom
not
for me,
from
right?
the physical process itself. I think there was a dissonance which was going on, that entire churning was happening. So that purpose for me, it is not as clear or as tangible or as relatable to the people of this planet. There is no purpose. The purpose is to find someone who has a purpose and maybe align with their vision. I think that is my purpose. So I tried to align with so many people in my life. Even before, when I was at professional level, I tried to align with so many people, help them grow, find their purpose, and make sure that whatever you can contribute, I wanted to contribute in that sense. So I think that is what I am supposed to do. And I am just recalibrating all these things at all point of time. Unknowingly, someone is driving it. Something is driving it. That I understand. That I acknowledge. That I accept. And I don't try to push things through. Whatever is coming, I accept, analyze, make it your own, and move on. So that flow you always talk about, I ensure that the flow.
Yeah.
I have to ensure that my flow inside my own psyche, my own mind and soul should also keep moving. So I guess now I am talking to you, it is coming back to me why I was doing what I was doing or what I was thinking. I was just recalibrating my idea of freedom with whatever I am doing or planning to do in next 1-2 years of time with you. Make sense?
Okay. 2 years?
एटलीस्ट 2 साल का तो प्लान है.
अच्छा, okay.
उसके बाद पता नहीं क्या.
Yeah, so no, when I met you, I was just recollecting, like given my jailbreak analogy of someone just finding a forest to breathe freely and like just exist. You were more or less in that mode, right?
Yeah.
Like your time, like you were like literally just all over the place, just chilling, meeting anyone at any point of time. And as you and I started, like the relationship itself started getting more and more robust, and it started becoming a separate entity of its own, and Thrive was growing simultaneously. You really, from that absolute like sitting on the beach and just chilling and watching the sunset mode of freedom, you started bringing yourself back into a space where actively you're participating, doing. But this doing is coming from a place of consent. This doing gives you some like
it's a choice.
It gives you joy, it gives you peace, it makes you laugh, it brings happiness to your face. It doesn't deplete, it gives to you, right? So I think that, like, what after the jailbreak, what after the disillusionment, what after the escape, and how do you find your soul's purpose is basically when you go back into doing. That doing should replenish you. This doing that I do with iThrive, right? Like, I am in service. Like, to me, if you ask me what is my purpose is to serve. Calling myself a healer, calling myself CEO, calling myself whatever therapist, those are labels, right? But in the end, what am I doing? I am serving in the best possible way. Now, if tomorrow things change and it comes across that the best way for me to serve would be like to actually work with food, create recipes, do that. Maybe it will change, the trajectory will change, but I will always be in service of the light of the divine. That's how I found my purpose, right? And then based on my upbringing, based on my interest in food, based on my exposure to my mom's being a nurse and healing, and based on my own journey, based on whatever I studied, all of it came together and created this particular path of service. Now you can serve in multiple ways. You can serve by being someone like Johan, where his service is
knowledge,
it's knowledge, and it's bringing a movement together, like getting everyone together, being the spearhead of a movement, just knowledge-based service, right? Where he's bringing knowledge out, where his knowledge kind of triggers everyone into asking the right questions and awakening. Someone like Suyash's way of service could be just like thinking, researching, formulation, creating the best supplements, where he might not be so much in the public, but at the back end he's building this amazing magical brews and products and pills and herbs and powders, like a wizard. Like, I really think he's a wizard, and some lifetime he must have been one of those wizards ki chhadi ghuma ke, like zoom karke he just created some powder and then people had that and started healing. Ria's purpose is like in service of like creating a knowledge based institution itself, right? Like, I don't think anyone could have headed the academy as beautifully as she does.
I think Prasad's purpose is to take this message to the
Prasad is like the most amazing storyteller I've met.
So I think he's created all these things, made us sit here and talk about things.
No, but you look at his ability to bring this out, right? Like, all the people in the team now, the videographers come and say that Thrive mein sare actors bhare. Where would like a Shivani from accounts get the opportunity to act on screen like she's anemic and like she's asking a dog, and she's like acted so beautifully in that, right?
She is actually is.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, see, his way of serving or his way of actually fulfilling his purpose is being able to tell stories, being able to get people to kind of express themselves and on screen, and it's great. So different people serve in different ways. Not everyone has to do this only. I'm just saying that I ask the question of how can I serve you better, and this is the answer I get. And the more I do of this, the more my life fills with love and abundance and peace. You serve by bringing flow into systems.
I serve by people who are serving.
Yeah, so that gives you joy and peace and abundance, right?
So I think we come to the end of this episode of Disillusionment and Finding Your Purpose. We shared our story. Do let us know how do you like it. You can find your own purpose. You can start getting disillusioned with the system around you. Not necessarily you have to break away. You have to indulge into jailbreak kind of thing. But if you have these kind of questions bogging you or pulling you down, do reach out to us. We would be happy to help you in whatever way we can. And keep watching us, like, comment, share. We are always around. We will come back with new stuff every week. Keep watching us, keep sharing our stories, and do let us know what you think of us. See you.
Yes, until next week, bye bye.